September 16th, 2020. Superhero Day for Spirit Week. I am the evil Dr. Jones. That's all I got. All right, hey, look, this is an Anthropology video, whichever number we're on. And today, this is going to be a short one. I think this is only going to be about 15 minutes of this video. And we're looking at why our heads are so big and why fire makes us smarter. All right, so there you go. Hey, up here on the up on the screen, we've got a lot of different skulls. Which one is Homo sapien, right? So, because we've talked in the last video about all the different types of hominids out there, all of our different cousins in our family, the Homo erectus, Homo habilis, and all those guys, the Florensis. And so, which one is us? Well, take a second, look at it, think to yourself, which one is the most human? Well, like Homo sapien, right? If you're thinking, is that one? No, it's not. Is he thinking that one, maybe? Or is that? No. Yeah, I'll let you think about it. Okay, so we talked in our Zoom last week. We were saying that, cubic inches. I asked Hugo about how many cubic inches was his motorcycle with regard to the engine size. 150 or 250 or 650. They're talking about our brain size, cubic centimeters. And so it says 2.5 million years ago, our brains only had 36 cubic inches, which, I mean, that's a lot of centimeters, but now we're sporting between 73 and 85 cubic inches. So that's, wow, our heads have gotten really big comparatively, right? The brain accounts for 2 to 3 of the total body weight, so it's only 2 to 3% of your total body weight, but 25% of your energy usage. 25% of your energy usage, even when you're just sitting there at rest. That's not even talking about when you're sitting there trying to figure out the transverse property of algebra 2. A is B and B is C, and so A and C. By comparison, the brains of the other members of the great apes family are only 8% of their rest time energy. So what's going on in our heads? What's going on in our heads that makes us use all this energy? Okay, well, first of all, let's talk about how this doesn't work for us. Excuse me. So, humankind, it says humankind pays for it, having all of our senses way up high. You think about a dog, you think about a lion, and of course they have their hearing and their smelling and their seeing up front. We just took our seeing and hearing and smelling and we put it up high. So when we're standing on our back legs and we're looking up, and so that we can see over the tall grass, we can see the bad guys coming. Well, there's a problem with that. If you stand up like that and you put everything in one spot, well, that puts a lot of weight on the legs, on the knees, on the ankles, on the hips, and on the back. And so females, their hips had to get narrower, because if you have super wide hips, then you're walking around like an ape, right? And so we're going to have narrower hips. So Darwinian, evolution, we're going to start bringing the hips in of the females. And if you bring in the hips of the females, we're talking about the birth canal, right? The birth canal, if you have smaller hips, the birth canal is going to be smaller. And this is the same time as the hips are getting smaller and the birth canal is getting smaller, our heads are getting bigger. So we've got a situation. At some point, this is going to be a problem that our heads are going to be too big to go through the hole. Well, evolution fixed that, right? So evolution fixed that a couple different ways. One, our heads, I don't know if you've ever seen like a brand new, like literally just popped out baby. Their heads are kind of squishy and all alien shaped. Because the plates in our heads, oh, here we go, a little anatomy physiology. The plates in our heads, are not fused, and so they're plates, and so they can bend a little bit with regard to the gaps between them. So when you're coming down through a hole that's not very big, your head can kind of get smushed a little bit, and you come out. And then later, when you're like 1.5 or 2, and everything fuses together and everything's great. Don't drop a baby on its head, because, well, don't drop anybody on their head. But okay, so that's one evolutionary thing that helped us out. The other thing is that we are born reasonably premature compared to the other animals. You know, you look at, here we are in Oklahoma, and not that everybody in Oklahoma owns a horse, but we understand that, you know, if a horse is born, a colt, a foal is born, then like, you know, just like 2 or 3 hours, that thing's standing up. In less than 24 hours, that thing's trotting around. I mean, golly, within 24 hours, it's up and it's moving around. You look at cats, kittens, and puppies, and within what, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, they're ready to go. I mean, they're ready. There's people are selling them left and right. You look at humans. Wow, we are born really immature, right? I mean, some of our stuff isn't even ready to go yet, and we're getting born. So we're born extremely immature, which brings down our size to go through the birth canal. Now the problem is obviously that what are we going to do with these little babies who can't fend for themselves? So humans are going to have to, and this is a big part of anthropology, humans are going to have to stick together. We're going to have to form families. We're going to have to form communities. We're going to have to form relationships with one another, because somebody's got to be in charge of the kid. Because you can't just say, okay, kid, you've been born. You've been good for 24 hours. Go get life. Can't do that with a human baby. I mean, you can't do that with juniors or seniors in high school. Hey, good luck. See ya. Some of you juniors and seniors are like, oh man, I know it's coming too. My mama's about ready to kick me out and I'm not ready. I get it. And that's 18 years old. So there are a couple different ways that evolution has helped us out with regard to the narrower hips, so that we can stand up and walk easy. For the females, we have our heads are squishy, and when we're first born, and we're born premature. Now, here's the deal. Even though we have bigger heads at this point, and we're forming little families and communities, we're still not, we're not at the top of the food chain. If we go back 2 million years ago, and so after Lucy, but before maybe the Homo erectus, we are. I mean, look at our claws, right? Look at our teeth. We're not very fast compared to others. We're not very strong compared to others. I mean, what do we really offer, as a prey or as a predator? Goodness. So we're gonna have this really weird niche where we're going to try to fit in. And so what makes us special? What makes us special? Here it is. We're going to start figuring out tools. And so you have Homo habilis, the tool maker. That's what they call his group, the tool makers. And you see the group of, the arrowheads up here, and or the sharp, well, not really arrowheads yet, but the sharp knives. And so you take these sharp knives, you start banging on things with it. And specifically, what are we going after? Well, specifically, let's see, it says the first evidence for tool production is about 2.5 million years ago. And what do we need tools for? We haven't figured out bows and arrows yet 2.5 million years ago. What do we need sharp objects for? I mean, we're not going to go after the dinosaurs with rock, well, I don't know, maybe we are. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's what we need those sharp tools for. So there we are out in Africa, minding our own business, starving to death because we can't run down a giraffe, we can't run down a zebra. So what are we going to do? We're going to wait. We're going to be very patient. So the lion, the pack of lions, is that right? A pride of lions, going to bring down a giraffe. The pride of lions are going to eat all the good stuff. They're going to rip into the giraffe, going to eat out all the good stuff. When the pride of lions leave, here come the hyenas. And the hyenas are going to eat whatever the lions did not eat. And then when they leave, here come the jackals, the dogs. So the jackals come up and they eat whatever the hyenas didn't eat. And so pretty much, and of course the humans, we're kind of standing over here by the tree going, yeah, when y'all are finished, go ahead, take your time, when y'all are finished. So when we show up to the carcass, this dead animal has been eaten by lions and hyenas and jackals, and what is there left? We've got hair to eat. We're not going to eat hair. We've got hooves to eat. We're not going to eat hooves. Bones to eat. Well, we're not going to eat bones. Actually, here we go. since I know you all did so well in biology and anatomy, physiology, you know that the long bones like your femur, like your humerus, that they contain bone marrow. And so the bone marrow, nice, chewy bone marrow, very full of protein. You take those sharp rocks and you start banging the long bones, the femurs, and breaking them apart and sucking out the bone marrow. That is our niche. We don't get to eat all the the muscle. We don't get to eat the heart or the liver. We don't get to eat whatever's left over that the hyenas. The bone marrow, and you can't just go up to a giraffe femur and just snap it with your hands. I mean, y'all can. I probably can, but because I'm super Dr. Evil right now in my cape. But no, you use your sharp rock to do that. All right, so that's our niche. I like the picture. It says, this is the most dangerous animal in the world. It is responsible for millions of deaths each year, and by its side, a great white shark swims peacefully. Humans, the most dangerous animals on the planet. We'll get to that. I mean, we have killed off a lot of animals. This is the key to understanding the history and psychology. Our genus, our family, the Homo family, we are, up to not very long ago, we were basically firmly in the middle of the food chain. We were not at the top, we were not at the bottom. I mean, a rabbit's not going to kill us, but we're going to eat the rabbit. But anything our size or bigger, again, look at my claws, look at my teeth. I'm not going to be able to kill something my size. So we're smack in the middle of the food chain. So what changes that? How do we move up the food chain? Only about 400,000 years ago, we started figuring some stuff out. And we started moving up the food chain. And at about 150,000 years ago, about the time that Homo sapiens really became Homo sapiens like we are today, did we move to the very top. All right. If you're a big fan of 1980s movies, here we go. Think if an alien, you may have seen this on one of your feeds, if an alien race or an alien comes down from outer space and starts to attack humans, here are some things you need to know as an alien civilization. Humans are very dangerous. Here we go. Warning, a human can keep fighting for hours after you shoot it. Warning, humans can detect you even at night by tracking vibrations through the atmosphere. Did you know? Removing a limb will not fatally incapacitate humans. You must always destroy the head. Warning, the human mouth has over 30 outcrops of bone and powerful jaw muscles. Human bites can be fatally infectious even to other humans. Warning, fun fact, humans expose themselves to lethal solar radiation as part of their mating rituals. Alert! Human infestations are extremely resilient and quickly return to the host site to rebuild, the home site to rebuild. And finally, caution, humans can project bioweapons from almost every orifice from their body. Do not inhale. Man, don't mess with humans. We're crazy. Oh, I missed one right here. Fact. This is a fact. Humans are a proud warrior race with a pantheon of bloody gods, including the god Rambo and the god Schwarzenegger. Here's the food pyramid. You've got the plants at the bottom, you've got the animals next level, you've got the humans, and then you got the zombies at the top. All right. The thing in class. Teacher, humans are at the top of the food chain because no one eats us. And the student goes, Titans, ghouls, cannibals. The teacher says, what? And the kid goes, what? All right. Here's the problem with being at the top of the food chain. We're not ready. think about the great white shark. How long? I mean, it's been at the top of the food chain since the megalodon died, and in fact, like 2 weeks ago, there's evidence now that shows that the megalodons were actually out predatored. The great white sharks had better predatory skills than the megalodons, and they weren't faster or bigger or bite harder, but they were smarter. And so the great white sharks basically starved the megalodons to death because they got to the food first. So great white sharks have been around for 400 million years. They've been at the top of the chain. You think about lions at the top of the chain in Africa. How long have they been the top of the food chain? Well, they've been there for a long. I mean, we're talking about millions of years. Nobody messes with the pride of lions. So they've earned that right. They've earned the right to be at the top of the food chain. Well, here we are in anthropology, and we're talking about humans being at the top of the food chain. How long have we been there? Well, we've been there for about 150,000 years. Did we earn it? Did we earn being at the top? Did we pay our dues? Well, the argument might be no, that we don't deserve to be at the top, but here we are, we found ourselves at the top, and what do we do about it? Well, we're going to find out that we go around and we have mass extinctions and kill all sorts of crazy animals that you've never heard of, and go from there. All right, so that's what that all says. Fire. The book, 39 ways to start a fire. We're going to talk about this in Zoom next Thursday. This coming Thursday. A significant step on the way to the top of the food chain, figuring out fire. 800,000 years ago, that's what they're thinking right now, 800,000 years ago, the family Homo figured out fire. And then certainly by 300,000 years ago, Homo erectus and the Neanderthals, and then ultimately the Homo sapiens, they're going to start to use it like for realsies to figure it out. We talked about the very first week, I told you the story of Prometheus. And Prometheus, do whatever you do, don't give the clay people weapons. And he goes, okay, I'll just give them fire. And so then they made the weapons out of the fire, and there you go. That'll get you in trouble by Zeus. And you don't want to ever be in trouble by Zeus. All right, so not long after we figured out fire, we figured out, like I said, how to use it as a tool, fire as a tool. So, for example, you intentionally set fire to the forest. It's just serendipity that we just happen to be, I happen to be talking about this in September of 2020, where we've got crazy fires going on on the West Coast, but intentionally setting fire to the forest. Con, well, you could kill yourself. Pros, if you set fire to the forest, then all the underbrush is cleared out, all the little bushes and all the underbrush is cleared out, which makes it easier to walk through. 2, all of the nuts that were dropping from the trees, well, now they're cooked nuts, and so a little easier to eat. And 3, all the little bitty rabbits, oh, now they're cooked rabbits. Hey, win-win. Not for the rabbits, but for you guys, or not for necessarily for you guys, not that you eat cooked rabbit, although I suppose you could eat cooked rabbit. Now, where's the closest place you could eat rabbit? Oh, could you eat? Well, I guess you could shoot your own rabbit and eat it, but... Oh, so yeah, that's what that says. Once the fire dies down, then you can find all the little bitty, critters, and hey, food. So, it's an interesting argument, and I'm almost done with this video. There's an interesting argument out there that came out not too terribly long ago. Do I have a date? I don't have a date. It says fire is the reason that we are smarter. And it's actually a biological reason. So follow me. I don't know if I believe this, but follow the train of logic. A is B, B is C, A is C. All right, that's transitive property. See, I knew I could work it in. Oh, Shattuck. Yeah, see, Shattuck. All right, so follow this train of logic. Fire cooks the food. When fire cooks the food, there's no more bugs on the food, no more germs on the food, because all the germs die off, bacteria dies off. So the food is better. It's more healthy. Okay, number 1. 2, when you cook the food, it becomes much more digestive. You're able to digest it much easier. It says here that chimpanzees spend 4 to 5 days chewing on raw food. and because they've got to chew to help it digest. Otherwise, it's just going to shoot right out, and you're not going to get any nutrients. If you set something on fire and then it becomes soft and chewy, then you don't have to chew as long, and your system digests it a lot easier. All right, so that idea. If your system can digest it a lot easier, then you don't need as big of a system. So we're talking about the digestive system here. So the digestive system, and again, I know you all know your anatomy, physiology, and so we have, let's see, your stomach, and then the duodenum, which connects the stomach to the small intestines, and that's called which is the jejunal, the jejunum. Oh man, look at me! Somebody, go tell Mrs. Jones I'm doing this. And that's the duodenal jejunal intersection. Wait, what was that? Junction. Oh man, I almost got it. All right. So anyway, the point is that if you have fire and you eat stuff that you don't need super long digestive tracts to digest the nutrients, because now you're not having to do that because the fire did it for you. So you can shorten those intestines. You can shorten your large intestines, your short intestines, and your whatever you call them, the small intestines. And you shorten all that up. If you shorten all of that up, you don't need as much energy. If you don't need as much energy for your digestive system, where does that energy go? Well, some humanists, the scientists out there, the biologists, they think that possibly, so there'd be the paleobiologists, they think that possibly once we started bringing our digestive system smaller and smaller and smaller, that means with all that extra energy, it went right up here. If you have extra energy for your brain, eventually you're going to come up with some idea, and I wonder if that's going to be language, I wonder if that's going to be art, I wonder if that's going to be, I guess we'll find out. So again, I don't know if I'm a big fan of this theory. It is an interesting theory. We figured out fire cooks the food, cooked food makes our intestines smaller, gives us more energy, which makes us smarter. Each step I agree with. I don't know if I agree with the whole thing, but it is what it is. All right, so that's the end of this video, and I will catch you on the flip side. Hey, do your readings. Bye. Be good.